One of the many industry events MDM looks forward to attending each year is the Industrial Supply Association's Spring Conference, ISA 23, to be held April 17th through the 19th in Phoenix, serves as a great networking and educational event for distributors and suppliers in the industrial supply space. I'm Mike Hockett, Executive Editor of Modern Distribution Management, and my guest for this episode of the MDM podcast is ISA President Brendan Breen, who took over leadership for the association at the start of 2022. Our discussion is a look ahead to ISA 23 and what it has in store, as well as what he's hearing about the near-term business outlook from ISA members. If you haven't checked it out yet, our last podcast of 2022 featured MDM Events Coordinator Spencer Gale doing quick interviews with attendees at ISA's 22 Fall Summit, and they shared some great insights there. I'll be looking to do the same at ISA 23, doing 5-minute interviews while at the event about industry trends and challenges. So if you plan on attending ISA 23 and are interested in a quick chat, please let me know. In the meantime, enjoy this podcast with Brendan Breen. All right, Brendan. Well, thanks to the pandemic, ISA 22 was the association's first in-person conference since April of 2019. So a long time there in between. And I attended about a dozen industry events this past year. And after a somewhat slower start, I definitely got the notion that everyone was back in travel mode as the year went on, and that the appetite for in-person events is very healthy out there. Is that the same observation from you and the ISA team?
Yeah, Mike, it absolutely is. I mean, I think that we all got really good at virtual things during the pandemic, and we used the tools that were available to us and really wringed them out as much as we possibly could. But as soon as we had that opportunity to get back in person, it really reminded everybody that was there at not just our event, but all the events, that there's really nothing that takes the place of an in-person gathering. There's a vibe, there's a feeling, there's an energy in the room. It really just can't be replicated when in a virtual setting. So, yeah, we're seeing people are excited to be back in person. They're excited to see their old friends, shake hands, pat each other on the back, go out to dinners. I mean, these are things that you can't do in Zoom. So, yeah, we're definitely seeing that.
Yeah, definitely agree on all that there. ISA considerably revamped its conferences in 2022, going from one event in the spring, like many associations do, to having two events, one in the spring and one in the fall. Overall, how would you say that strategy panned out last year, doing it for the first time? Did it give ISA more of that year-round engagement that it was looking for?
Absolutely. I mean, this was a long time coming. We had been toying around with the idea of having a larger fall event for a while, because we feel like not only does it create that year-round engagement, but there's a different need that our fall event represents. This event was really a replacement or a combination of 3 other events. We used to have 3 summits that were larger or smaller events for women in industry, salesworks, and emerging leaders. And they all happen in the fall. And we said, why can't we leverage the power of all 3 of these individual strong networks and combine them all into what we used to call a mega summit? We came up with something that was a little bit better and fit the fall summit. But it absolutely gave us this. And the big distinction here is it's not just 2 events. They're 2 very different events that meet different needs of our members and their companies. The spring event is what it's always been, which is a strong channel networking event. You know, that is its purpose. That is why people go to it. But there's a significant need in the companies that are in our channel and the members of ISA to develop the employees that they have, and not just, the leaders, but others. And so this was designed to be a professional development event to elevate the teams. So it wasn't just about moving your company forward, which is what we do in the spring. This is about moving your people forward through professional development. So it absolutely gave us that engagement. It was a home run. We were really excited about the buzz. And what was really cool to see was, because I've been to a lot of these summits in person, and the keynotes and general sessions are typically a little bit smaller than those. But this was a big room for our keynote, and our receptions felt big. And so it really did feel like we had 2 very large events. And so lots of room to grow, lots of room to build that out. But it was an absolute home run.
Yeah, we had 2 MDM staff people there at the ISA Fall Summit, and I know the feedback from them was great on it. They even recorded a podcast there, so it was a productive event for us. I know ISA is always listening to its members and event attendees and putting that feedback to good use. What were the key things that members were asking for ISA 23?
Yeah, so ISA 22, going backwards, was, kind of an experiment. It was our first time back. We had learned so much through the pandemic that we felt like we had to test the market, so that we could learn. And so that we did. We tested out a couple of different theories and a couple of different things, but really the most important thing we got out of it was some tremendous feedback. We have such a dedicated membership that provides us guidance so that we can build better programming every single year. And what they scream from the mountaintops is what they want out of our spring event is networking, and more networking. So that's the gist of it. I think that they enjoy the education. It needs to be part of what we do, and we have to have excellent education. But the reasons why they're there and the reasons why they want to attend is more networking. And it can't just be putting people in a room. It can't just be, setting them loose in an exhibit hall floor and letting them figure it out. We needed to create a little bit more intentionality around how people network. And so we've taken literally since we got back from our convention in April of last year till right now, we've been revamping. We have been putting together task forces for our members, and listening to as many people as we possibly could to build an ISA 23 that answers the call of networking, and more networking. So we're really, really excited about what we have to offer this year.
Yeah, it's those conversations that, like you said, I think people find most valuable at these events. The education is great, but they can get that in a lot of places where it's those small, quick conversations about, how are things going that I think people find the most valuable here. On that note, we at MDM, we're putting together our own events, and I know that one of the most challenging components of annual event planning is finding ways to make it a little different each year, whether that's in the content or the speakers or the networking and receptions. Can you take me through what is new or different for ISA 23?
Yeah, sure. There's a ton. First, I'll kind of do it chronologically through the event because I think that it starts with a bang with something different. We're bringing back something that ISA used to do a while ago. We think that this is a perfect venue to bring it back to add more networking. Is a charity golf event. So at Lookout Mountain Golf Course on the first day of the event, we are going to have a wonderful 18-hole golf course at our disposal for ISA to gather together with their industry friends, play some golf, network with each other, have a general great time. So world-class golf course, great opportunities for networking. And again, different conversations need different things, and sometimes you need 4 hours to talk to somebody, and sometimes you want to meet up after a round of golf, and that allows for that. So that's the first thing that's new. Really, really excited about that, and tickets are already going pretty fast for it, so we're pumped. We're also doing not everybody plays golf. Some people are into other things, so we're doing a charity fun run, a 5K that morning as well. So if you're not a golfer, and you want to walk, run, hang out with other people in a non-transactional, a little bit disarmed way, a fun run is a great way to walk next to somebody for a good hour and just chat. This is the kind of things that are unintentional intentionality. We're trying to have these casual collisions that people can have that we can facilitate. And so, the fun run, I think is going to be a great opportunity for that. And again, signups are going real fast for that. We're also, we're not abandoning education. We think education is still core to our value proposition of what we provide. And so some of the topics require a little bit more in-depth stuff. So, a 50-minute session that we would have, is a good kind of primer for a conversation, but some topics need to go a little bit deeper. And so we're doing, on the first day of the convention, 2 pre-conference workshops. We have partnered with the folks at Texas A&M, their industrial distribution program, to provide 2 long-form, interactive, instructor-led pre-conference workshops around 2 critical topics. The first one is around sales and marketing. This is what 99% of the people that are coming to our convention focus on, and are charged with. And so why not learn from some of the best instructors in our field how to do that and really get to work side by side with people. The second one is around engaging, retaining, and developing top young talent, next-gen talent. If you're not paying attention to a topic like that in your company, you're missing the boat. And so this is a great opportunity for both leaders and people management, talent management individuals to come and learn from the folks at Texas A&M who are really pioneering some excellent research in this field, especially around our channel. You know, it's not the same for like a tech company to engage and recruit young talent, but industrial distribution and manufacturing, we've got our challenges in terms of finding and keeping young talent. And so let's learn from these folks and how to do this. So the pre-conference workshops are phenomenal. The next big thing, we're going to fully own the fact that our scheduler tool needed help last year. This was, not something that we want to be on people's lips as a reason for frustration. And there were some things that needed to be fixed. This is our first time back last year, and we tried to give more flexibility, and we learned a ton about what we needed to do. So one of the first things that we did when we got back from the convention last year was put together a task force to develop the best seamless scheduling tool available. So we have custom-made, custom-built a scheduling tool that has been built with our members and a task force around that in order to make sure it works. And the people that are on that task force are the leaders that are sitting at those tables. They're also the people in the back office that might be facilitating scheduling for you. They are people on both sides of the conversation, just so that we could have a really well-rounded look at that. So that's exciting that we have that done. There's a bunch of other networking intentional stuff we've done. There's a networking lunch where people can opt into sitting at assigned facilitated seats where people can meet and network. And surprisingly, this was a theory to test. A lot of people are signing up for it. People don't just want to go and sit with their friends. They want to meet new people. And so this is another casual collision. We want people to see each other. And then on top of that, about 4 or 5 different receptions where people can meet up with each other. So lots of new stuff this year, Mike, that we're really, really excited about. But it's all about not just letting people figure out networking on their own. We are trying to put it right in front of them as plain as day.
Yeah, that's great. And you mentioned, casual collisions a couple times, and I like that term, and that's perfect for these convention settings. And then I do love that most of these conventions, conferences that we go to nowadays have the entire program in an app, which it's just so convenient compared to how you had to do it before. And it's just nice to hear that improvements are constantly being made on that end. The ISA 23 opening keynote speaker is basketball legend Bill Walton, known to anyone who follows the NBA or college basketball. And I don't follow any Pac-12 teams that Bill Walton is associated with, but sometimes I will watch a part of a Pac-12 basketball game that Bill is doing color commentary on, just because he's so, renowned, entertaining on that front. How did ISA go about connecting with Bill, and can you tease anything about what his message might be there?
It's the first thing is we had to look for somebody that was taller than David Ruggles to attend our convention, and we found, so we had to go to the NBA to find it. No, but in all seriousness, we were looking for somebody that could inspire, looking for somebody that could entertain, but somebody that connected to, what our members are really going through. And so Bill came about in a conversation. We have a lot of sports fans on our board and in our team, and we wanted somebody that was going to kick this off with a bang. And so we actually went and we had somebody go out and visit a keynote that he was giving just to test it out, and he knocked it out of the park. And some of the messages that I think are really going to connect, apart from being, super funny guy and very energetic and tons of great stories to tell, is this guy faced a ton of adversity, a ton. I think he had something like 75 injuries or something like that. And in order to be able to do that and come back and be a winner and be on winning teams and be well-known Hall of Fame basketball player, you've got to have some grit, determination, and you've got to see the end game more than anything else. The challenges that faced him, we're all facing challenges, and the determination to look beyond them is what creates winners. So I think that that's the message that we're going to get. Hopefully that and some laughs and some really good stories too. And I heard that he's the kind of guy, the kind of speaker that likes to hang out at the party afterwards. So hoping that, we get to have him walk around, and again, it'll be easy to spot, probably a head above the rest. So hoping that we get to have that access to him as well. But I'm really excited about this. This was one of the first things we locked down about the program this year.
The ISA closing keynote is by renowned economist Alan Beaulieu, who is a frequent convention speaker in the industrial supply space, including at ISA 22 last year. So with all the economic uncertainty still out there, how valuable was it to bring Alan back?
I mean, Alan he's like, he grounds us all, right? I think that we are all susceptible to the news, and we're all susceptible to, whatever clickbait is out there, that is just kind of appealing because it's kind of, appealing to our lowest senses sometimes. And listening to Alan talk about the numbers and the facts are what ground us all in reality. And so it's essential that we get him back up there on stage and we get ITR out there. We've been developing a deeper relationship with ITR because there's not just Alan that does this, but, one of our fall summit speakers actually was from ITR. He led the Emerging Leaders program. What they're, feeling and not to steal their thunder from their talk, but is that we all need to take a breath and realize that the models that are out there that he's predicted for years are still the same. The news is not changing that dramatically enough that it's going to severely impact our business. So stay the course. And that's a good message. And there's nobody better in the industry to deliver that. So I think, it's always nice to have Alan here. He's a total pro. I feel like I could just give him a microphone and let him do his thing. And he knows how to do that. He can do it in his sleep.
Yeah, at MDM, we talk a lot about, cutting through the noise, stop listening to all the talking heads out there, listen to the data, to the numbers out there. And like you said, Alan does a great job of communicating that at these different events. So looking forward to that too. Besides Bill and Alan, is there anything else on the agenda that you haven't touched on here or on the content side of things that you want to highlight or just tease a little bit out there?
Sure. Yeah, no, we are really focusing in on three kind of main areas that are going to intersect the six different breakout sessions that we have. We're going to be talking about technology, strategy, and culture. I think all of these are things that are top of mind for anybody or any strategic initiative that a company has. You're either addressing one or all three of them. And I know MDM is pushing and is talking a lot about digital transformation and how companies are pursuing that. So right off the bat, we're engaging a guy everybody knows to be, one of the preeminent leaders and voices in our industry from a strategic point of view, Mike Marks, to talk about CRMs. Everybody is talking about and kind of fearing being behind the eight ball when it comes to either getting a CRM or utilizing a CRM. And Mike is, as everybody knows, a straight shooter. So literally we're going to have two sessions. The first one is, do I need a CRM? It's a fair question. And I think a lot of people buy expensive CRM thinking, oh, I have to have one. He's going to walk you through that. For those that have a CRM already and have made that investment, he is going to teach people and talk to people about how you get more out of it. So how do you optimize your CRM? What can you do walking out of that session that you weren't doing before to get more out of the investment made for your CRM? So Mike Marks never disappoints. Those are going to be two great sessions that I think hit everybody in the room. We're also, understanding the changing landscape, as I'm sure that you guys are as well, being that your audience is primarily distributors, is the value proposition for distribution needs to be very clearly defined. And so we're bringing the guys from Dorn Group on to talk about that. And we've been building that relationship with the guys from Dorn for a couple of years. And I think that their message is really good. And it's good for this channel. And so I wanted to give them a platform in order to speak to our audience on that. Another session is about technology and how to not fear it. I think that a lot of people worry that technology is going to replace the existing model for sales, marketing, whatever it is. We're bringing on a guy from Bloom Reach who is going to talk, Jason Hine, who is going to talk about how to partner with technology in order to increase sales and marketing. So it's not a replace, it's an additive. So again, cutting through the noise, making sure that we're allaying some people's fears about the storm that's coming, if it is. I think it's about getting used to and comfortable with what the changes are going to be. The last two sessions, I'm pretty excited about. One is a session where we're picking up with a conversation that we started back in, I think it was 2017 or 18. We brought on somebody to talk about the entrepreneurial operating system called Traction. It's a way to run your business and create accountability. We brought them on to lay out their model. And at that point, Traction was a relatively new concept. There's been a whole lot of new updates to it. And so we're bringing back one of the authors of the Traction book to talk about the updates since then. But for anyone struggling to get a grip on their business, and to understand how you move the ball forward in a regular and accountable way, this is going to be a great one. And just as an inside thing, we're using it on our team too. I think it is a great way to understand how to do this. So there'll be a good session on that. And then the last one, another very well-known name in the industry is the Brooks Group. We're bringing on the Brooks Group to give us an update on aligning sales with the rest of your organization. I think that a lot of times sales and the rest of your organization really get separated. They are compensated differently. There's a cultural difference with your sales team and your marketing team or your HR, and you're missing an opportunity when you don't have your whole company aligned around that. And so Brooks is going to come on, Russ Scherer from Brooks is going to come on to talk about how you can create that unified culture in your organization and get everyone rowing in the same direction, not just sales leading the charge or somebody else leading the charge. It's important to have that sort of alignment. So excited about all these breakouts. There might be a few more surprises that get added as well. But for now, that's where we're at. Those 6 sessions.
Yeah, great to hear some of those names out there. The Dorn Group, we have a great relationship with them. Jason Hine, the Brooks Group, yeah, all these are names and companies that, like you said, we know all about them. We know they put out great stuff. So yeah, that's a great lineup to hear about. And then to finish up with, I know ISA 23, as of this recording, it's about 4 months away here as we're in early January recording this. But I want to ask about the general industry vibe as 2023 just gets started here. Obviously, there's still a lot of uncertainty out there in terms of economic conditions, supply chain conditions, and the labor situation. But overall, I picked up on a pretty positive tone from industrial distributors and manufacturers in the events I attended in 2022's fourth quarter. What's the overall sentiment you're hearing from ISA members as far as the near-term business outlook early in the year here?
So same thing over here, Mike. I think that we're seeing a lot of our members scratch their heads when they read the news. They're like, I'm not seeing the same reality in my company. My demand and my orders are still coming through. The supply chain issues are easing. The labor market is improving. So all of these big indicators of overall health are strong or holding, and I think that is what I'm hearing from people is that, people are cautiously looking at the future and saying, what if, let's make plans. Let's prepare ourselves just in case. But I'm not seeing, the doom and gloom that might come out of the news in terms of mass layoffs or freezing of funding or even scaling back travel. I mean, we are having people double down and register early and send more people to our convention because they're anticipating a great year. So I think that these are the indicators that I see in our business. I mean, we're off to a great start with renewals. We're off to a great start with convention, and we're hearing a good buzz. So my numbers look good, and the voices that I'm hearing from other people are that their numbers look good. So I think it's going to be a good year.
I feel like I'm getting the notion there's, I don't know if you want to call it cautious optimism or whatnot, but it seems like, people, they're not ignoring kind of some of the economic trends out there, but they're paying attention to their numbers, and their numbers, from what I'm hearing, is that they're still strong, like you mentioned. So that's everything I have for you, Brendan. Before we sign off here, is there any last words you want for our audience, whether it's about ISA, the ISA 23, or just anything coming up?
I think that the message I have for my team, which is one of the best teams I've ever worked with, and for our and for the companies that are in this channel, is that this channel is strong. This channel is relevant and necessary, and this is the year to really remind ourselves of the power of what it is that when we combine manufacturing, distribution, and the end user all in the same conversation and thought, some really amazing things can happen. So I'm just excited that I get to be a part of it, and I get to lead the ISA team and our member companies into a phenomenal 2023 and ISA 23 especially. Can't wait to see everybody there.
All right. Well, that's everything we got here. So for the MDM podcast, this is Mike Hockett thanking Brendan Breen from ISA for joining. Brendan, thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me, Mike.